myself my name. Forgot about all you tried to change. Familiar was the sound of your voice as I continue to walk on by. It has been a year and now I'm living on the line. It has been a year and now I'm thinking what's mine that I'm better.
Hello and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. I'm a little bit delirious now because I've been saying those words 4 times now because I tried filming this. This is the 4th time trying and I'm hoping this time it will work. If you're new to this channel, my name is Amelia and I am 23 and I am a university student, and I upload 3 times a week, 2 main channel videos and a weekly university vlog on a Saturday. Main channel videos on Monday and Thursday, and I think that's all I have to say about the intro. Yeah. I'm going to try, I realise I ramble a lot in intros. I'm going to try and cut the intros down. Makes sense? If you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up, please comment down below, please subscribe, and yeah, let's just get on with the video. So, as you can see from the title, I am doing a student halls versus student housing video. Basically, last year I lived in halls, this year I'm living in student housing, and there is a difference between both of them, even though you might think it's not that much of a difference, it's not that hard of a transition. Trust me, it's so different, and honestly, I cannot tell you how much, I don't know which one I prefer the most, but I'm going to compare it, but just so you know, this is my opinion and of what my experience, not everyone else's experience or opinion on student halls and housing, so please don't think that this is, what I'm saying is what everyone thinks, because it's not, and everyone is going to have different experiences from it. It's the same as my experience of living in halls. I had a great experience with everyone has. So, yeah. I have made little notes because the last time I tried to film this I couldn't even speak, so I'm hoping this actually helps me. So I'm just going to start talking about comparing halls and houses. So my first comparison, which I haven't actually written down, as well I'm saying it now because I forget it, is the convenience of halls compared to housing. And for me anyway, I live half an hour away from everything. Like, I live half an hour away from the uni, half an hour away from the union, half an hour away from the local town. Like, we have shops near us, but not the town, which the town is like got Primark and everything. So if I want to do shopping, like clothes shopping, so I have to go half an hour away and carry it all back. And also the gym's half an hour away, and if I when I was going to the gym, walking half an hour for the gym was just not ideal. So the convenience of halls is like everything, because halls is literally so close to everything. It's walking distance, it's like 10 minutes away from uni for me, because that's will go close to Gunwolf. That the convenience of halls is just everything. It was like always close by to the clubs, so I can get home very quickly after a night out. I think that's why I went on a lot of nights out last year compared to now. Last year I'd be out like all the time, like every single day. Well, not every single day, but 3 times a week, twice a week I'd be out, because I knew that I could go to the club and then I'd be back in 2 seconds, because my place of club I always went to like opposite my accommodation. Made sense. But now I just don't, and I think the convenience is a good thing about the halls, and I do miss that part of it, because I do love being so close to everything compared to now. But the good thing about the distance is it has actually cut me down on going out. It's actually like making me have a bit more of a routine. Even if you watch my vlogs, you probably know I haven't been to uni much recently because I've been ill and I've just not been feeling like going in. But when it does give me a chance of routine of getting up in the morning and having to go somewhere. And it's not that bad because there is a uni bus, free uni bus that I can get on to get to uni, so I don't have to worry about being late to things because I've got the bus, I can walk it, so it's not that bad. Another thing I find that is another thing to compare it to is how more independent you are in a student house. For me, I found it, and I know a lot of my friends have found it, that they find living in a house more independent, And I think it's quite obvious that because as much as you live in, as much as in halls, you're independent because you're away from home, you're away from family, and you're doing things for yourself. It's not that independent because you've got a bunch of staff around you in halls. Like you've got there's security, there's people on the reception who can help you. Yeah, but they come around and do inspections. You have rules to abide by in halls, and I mean not rules that you make with your flatmates. You have rules that they are given to you by the people who you what's the word I'm trying to think of? You have rules by the company of the halls you live in. So I lived with United Students last year, and United Students are a great company. I'm not saying this just in case I watch the video. United Studios. United Students is very I think very good, a very good student halls company, because they know what they're doing. They have places in several in areas as well, not just Portsmouth. So it's great, and they're just very convenient. And they have even though they've got rules, they're very just easy people to deal with, and rules understanding, and they're very helpful as well. Like if you need to stay over holiday in the summer, they will give you an opportunity to stay for a few more months, if that makes sense. I don't know what I was saying. I literally lost what I was saying, but I haven't lost what I was saying, but I know what I was saying. Yeah. But you have a lot of rules to abide by, and it is a point where the fact that you don't feel as independent because you've got to follow those rules. You kind of feel like you've got a second parent there, because they are literally if you don't follow those rules, there are penalties, and it's like I'm not 5 anymore. But in some ways, some of the rules are there to help you, obviously, for your safety and for your enjoyment. And I wouldn't never say I didn't think any of the rules were needed. Like the rules were necessary. It's just it's not as independent as a house when you've only got your rules. The rules you make as a house, they're the only rules you have to follow by. You don't have to follow anyone else's rules. Like it's a lot more easier. Obviously, your landlady will say, if you do this, you might lose your deposit, but she doesn't give you rules. Obviously, there's certain things you can't do, it's in your contract, but it's a lot more freeing than it is in halls. And also, I don't know, it's just a lot more independent in a house, because there's a lot more in charge. Basically, you're not just paying for your rent, you're paying your bills, and you've got other things to pay for. In halls, you pay the rent, and it all goes to something, I guess. Another thing I have to say is it's a lot quieter in a house than in halls. And if you're someone who can't deal with noise, a house is definitely going to be perfect for you when you get to second year. Because halls, I love living in halls, but the amount of noise you hear in the middle of the night when you're trying to sleep is ridiculous. I got used to it, but it was not something I liked. Okay, I lived right by a courtyard, so you could hear everyone when they came back from nights out. You just hear them screaming and all that. And I was like, have a bit of respect. People are trying to sleep. People have uni tomorrow, and people haven't been on a night out. But at the same breath, it's like you kind of got to expect it from halls. It's what everyone's going through. You're in first year as well, especially in first year. You're in first year, you might as well make the most of it. I think I just said first year about 4 times in 2 seconds, so that was great. But you just got to make the most of it. So you kind of have to expect that people are going to make a lot of noise in halls, but it is so noisy that it's very hard to actually get sleep. I don't think I have ever had a night when I was in bed before 2 AM at least, by the earliest, last year, apart from a few times when I knew I had to be up early the next day. Like when I had masters in London, I went to bed about midnight. When I got tonsillitis, I think I fell asleep very, very early, but that's because I was ill. But other than that, I barely had any early nights last year because there was so much noise in halls. So another one is, this is I think a big one. I think everyone obviously knows this, not the answer to this one, and it's a big thing. It's a big difference, and how once you've done this, it kind of can change how your uni experience is. The fact is, in halls, you don't get a choice of who you live with, unless obviously you're applying for halls to live with certain amount of people, but majority of time when you're in halls, like when you start in first year, you just apply for halls, you don't know anyone, so obviously you don't have a choice on who you live with, so you can live with the most messiest person in the world, and you can be the most cleanest person in the world, and that could really obviously annoy you. You have no clue who you're living with, and you just have no clue what they're like. They can be complete opposites to you, which majority of the time they are. I lived with 3 other people last year, and one of them we didn't see often. Like, obviously we did see, and he was a lovely guy, and I wish I could see him again. And don't get me wrong, I got on with all my housemates, and I was very lucky that I got on really well with them. But I was nothing like 2 of my housemates were nothing like me. We had nothing in common. When I say nothing in common, we had certain things in common. We had like no, there was like they were like nothing like me, but they were easy to get on with, which was lucky for me. That they were easy to talk to and easy to hang out with, so it was fine. But we didn't have much in common at all. So, you don't get a choice of who you live with. But when you go into a house, you do get a choice on who you live with. You could, if you got on really well with your house flatmates, you could live with them again, or you can live with your close friends or other friends you make during the year. You get a complete free choice on who you live with in the second year. Like, I got very lucky. I mean, I went through the fact that I was going to live with a group of other people, didn't work out, and then this guy who was also get to live with other people goes to me, oh, I'm with these other people and we need one more person, so you still need a place to live, and that's how it happened. Pretty sure I've explained that story before. And I got really lucky with the people I live with. I get on well with them, but you can choose who you live with, which makes it a lot more easier and can definitely change your experience. I gained confidence last year, like mentioned, but my confidence definitely boosted this year, and I became such a stronger person than myself because of the people I live with. I think that really has helped me. So this is why my pros and cons. I say I would put housing further up to halls, even though halls is convenient and sometimes can be easy to deal with. When you're in a student house, I think to be fair, this could work both ways if you stay in halls the second year. But for me personally, my experience and my opinion is, living in a student house, I found myself feeling more comfortable saying to people, I don't like the way things are, please clean this, please clean that. Like, there's certain things I never used. If someone didn't do something last year and they left a mess, I'm just like, whatever. Or if it was just left dirty, I'd be like, whatever. If people use my stuff, even though I didn't like it, I'd be like, whatever. This year I'm like, no, they're not going to have it, because I feel more like happy and fine. But then last year I didn't really think I wanted to, I didn't want to upset anyone, I didn't want to say things because I was thinking, oh, so if I didn't have much problems when I was problems, I wouldn't say anything I was too scared to, because that's what I wasn't doing. So if I wasn't able to do it, but this year I'm just like, I'm going to say something, because otherwise I'm going to be miserable and I can't do that again. Wasn't even miserable last year, I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know. I will say something for when you're going through the application process of halls and a house. Halls is 10 times easier to apply for. First year especially, for me, I got an email after accepting my place in Portsmouth saying, okay, time to choose your housing. You fill in a few details, your name, everything else, and then they go, are you planning to stay in uni halls? And I'm like, yes. And then they come up with a list of halls, and they give you a brochure you can look, and if you come for applicant days, or open days, you have to look around the halls, so you kind of have an idea of what ones you want. So then I was clicking on buttons and I went yes, and then a few months later I got an email from the place saying I got my first choice. Then a month later, and then a few weeks later I got a phone call, and then I paid my deposit of £250, and that was it. With housing, I think for me I had an easy way of application, but it doesn't seem easy at all, because you've got to find housing, and you can have problems finding a house that you want. I got very lucky, like I said, about this house. I looked around it, but I already had in my mind I was going to say yes, because I was like, who am I going to live with if I don't say yes to this guy? But to be fair, the house is really nice, and I love the house, and I haven't had any problems in this area, so I'm not complaining. But like, the application process just seems very complicated. Like, you have to fill in some form when at the beginning of it, when you say yes, and then you have to do so much other things. Like, it's also the paying for housing just is way more expensive than paying for your halls before you even pay rent. So when I moved into halls, I paid £250 for a deposit, and that was all I had to pay. And then until my first rent came out. First lot of rent came out in October, it was fine. In a house, I had to pay a £200 holding fee, £403 for the first month's rent, and then £400 for deposit, and that was like need to work out. 400, 803 plus 200, about £1,000. Like, I paid £1,000 last year to live in this house before even living in this house, and I've paid another £2,000 or something. It's like I've already paid £3,000 for this house, and I'm a student. Like, it's a lot of money compared to halls. My overall for the whole year of halls was £5,000 plus the £250 deposit that I got back in beginning of July. But the point is, I know I can get the £400 deposit back, but I'll be getting it back next year because I'm staying another year. And I know by next term I'd only spend it'd be only like £4,000 I would have spent on this house since paying for the holding fee deposit and first month rent, and then the first term's rent and second term rent and third term rent. By the time I've left this house, I've paid like £7,000 on this house. And can we just put how more expensive that is in some way? It's not that expensive, but it's not that expensive. I say that, but for living in a house, it's not that expensive. You got to feel grateful, and this is my student maintenance loan that pays for it, not actually my hard-earned money, because I don't earn that a lot of money. But it is a lot of money to think about, and it is so expensive compared to halls. And I think that isn't to put you off it, because obviously you have to go through it, and I think that is adult life. Like, you probably get it a lot cheaper than living in it as when you get older and move out. You're going to have to pay a lot more money, and it's going to be as hard as this or more money so it is expensive, and you kind of got to go through that. But it is just like, you look back, I remember paying for my deposit at halls and thinking, oh, I want to see £250 come out of my account. And now I look at her, I'm like paying £1,000 each term, like going, yeah, here you go, much to my landlady, I send her the money, and I'm like, yeah, bye. It's like, you know, it is a lot, but you've kind of got to expect it. So, yeah. One thing I will say about halls, and I will always praise halls for, because you've got your friends, obviously, in your flat, which you can talk to if you're feeling down, but like, if you need any help, like, for housing, for the second year, if you're struggling to find people to live with or struggling to find a house for housing, or you just need someone who you don't know to talk to, but you don't really want to go to a doctor or like well-being for it, like, you know, you have people who have lived in halls before. Like, if you're dealing with homesickness and stuff as well, you've got people who have lived in the halls before, who know what it's like to be living away from home, and like also know what it's like to go through certain things that you can always you can always go to talk to. And they are students, they're not people who work there, they're students who are just there to help people who are living in halls. So they're kind of like the hall's wellbeing service, but they are students, which I think is really great. I know I was in James Watson, and I think most students halls at least, and I think it was really great to have it. I mean, I never needed to use them, but it's really good to have someone there if you are feeling homesick, because it really does help you. So I think that's the one thing I'll say about halls, is you had like I know I have my housemates I can go to from upstairs, obviously I know that, and if I was feeling homesick here, which I wouldn't be, I know I'd go to them. But I mean, actually that's the point, when I was feeling homesick, I did have a housemate pay for my train ticket back, to go back home. Obviously I paid him back, but he did pay for my train ticket so I can go home for the weekend, because I was going through a really, really shit time, I'll be honest. But yeah, it was nice having people who I didn't know, who you would have been able to go to, so. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I'm trying to think. I am actually trying to think if I missed something off. Another thing about housing compared to halls is, although there's still rules of you can't put stuff on your walls, or if you do, like, you might have to pay more to paint the wall or stuff, and like if you move stuff around, if it breaks, obviously like you've got to pay for it. But I feel like there's a lot more freedom in a house than it is like freedom on things you can do within your room in a house than it is in the student accommodation, because literally I had a calendar on my wall last year and I like, take that down. I left it up there, but they like, take it down. Like, no. But you know, I think there's more space in student in housing as well for your room. But the one thing I will say for me, and I found very lucky about student halls, is the ensuite bathroom, which was great, because I didn't have to like worry about people being in there or keep going downstairs to use it because it just be there, but yeah. This was a random, not random, but it was like a lot of me chatting and I don't even know if it made any sense, but I hope it did and I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give me a huge thumbs up, please comment down below and please subscribe, and I will see you again soon with another video.